Hello, welcome to the ABC on how to help writers actually realise their dreams. If you're like me and you wanted to write a book ever since you were a little girl or a little boy, but never quite got around to it, and then suddenly hit 40 and thought, oh, I better start writing it, then I would like to share some words of experience and hopefully wisdom with you to help you on that path. The first thing I experienced was fear and self-made obstacles, and that can come in the form of procrastination or doubt, in the guise of perfection. You're so worried that what you are going to write isn't going to be perfect, so you don't even bother starting it. And I'd like to take you through what I would call the ABC of making your writing dreams come true over the next 30 days. And I will do this in 10-minute slots, and each slot will cover certain subjects. So, for example, we should start with the removal of these fears and actually understanding what blockages you are making, whether they're self-imposed, whether they are the result of some beliefs being imposed on you by your family or upbringing, which aren't necessarily intended to be a negative form of support from your parents or society, but are actually having a negative impact on you because they are not your true beliefs. So they are stopping you from actually starting to write or become the person, the freelancer or the freelance creative that you want to become. So the first and foremost, most important thing is for you to remove your fears and blockages. And how do you do this? I would say you first have to acknowledge what they are, recognize them, give them a name, listen to your thoughts, find out and be truthful, completely truthful and honest with yourself of what it is that is actually stopping you starting to write, what is holding you back. And once we've gone through this first step, we will then move on to aligning yourself then to what you actually truly do want, because once you find out what you don't want and what's holding you back, the next progressive step would be to find out what it is that you truly do want. And this may sound easier than it actually is, but in reality, how many of us do know what we truly want? We can be filled with the desire for material wealth, but is that actually what is making us happy? Is that what is going to make us jump out of bed in the morning? More often than not, we are actually pushed by things that bring us joy, satisfaction, a sense of achievement, much more so than financial gain, although financial gain does make all things a lot easier. So that's the second point that we will be covering over the course of the next 30 days, of actually finding out what it is that you want. Tied in with that, I do suggest that, particularly as this is a scheme for writers, although it can be adapted to any profession, I would ask yourself seriously, is it actually this epic trilogy that you were destined to write, or a great romance, or an autobiography? Perhaps you should look at also, if you're struggling to get through a novel or writing the characters and the settings and so forth, perhaps you are more attuned to writing short stories or poetry or screenplays or radio shows, or perhaps children's books. I took myself quite by surprise when I produced 2 illustrated children's books. Something I never thought I would do. I struggled for a long time trying to finish my epic fantasy trilogy. I still don't know how it ends, because it was not the right format and medium for what I naturally could produce. So there's no point forcing yourself. If you do anything that is forced, you are more likely to produce work that is inferior, that won't flow naturally. So you are best to choose a format that is natural for you and one that you are fully engaged with, because if you're fully engaged with what you're doing, more likely than not, your audience, your readers, will become fully engaged with what you're doing and what you're saying and what you're writing and with your message. So after we've conquered your fears and removed your obstacles and actually set you on the right path of what it is that you truly want and the format that you will be working in, I will then be touching on various other factors. For example, making sure that you have the right setting for you to succeed, the right platform from which you should start, literally the right environment, the right workspace, the right setting in the sense of your mindset, to make sure that you are approaching your work in the right way, but also the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the influences that you're surrounding yourself with. That part will be divided into several parts, but essentially you're creating your own micro world of where you need to be in order to produce the best results. Second to that, or akin to that, you want to have a system in place. Planning, preparation, you've heard it all before, but without a plan, if you're not prepared, if you don't know when you're going to be writing or where you're going to be writing, once you've decided what you're going to be writing, then you'll be lost, you'll be floundering, you'll be catching 5 minutes here or using the back of an envelope and doing some scribbles and then sitting down at the end of the day thinking, why on earth did I write all this? And although many great things have been written on the backs of envelopes, if you would like to make your life a little less stressful, I do highly recommend having some kind of a system in place, at least a time slot that is dedicated for your writing, so that it could be more manageable and less stressful. Then we move back inwards and look at the tools that you already have within you that perhaps you are not using. So, for example, I would call myself an eternal learner. Let's see what things you need to learn. And I don't mean just new skills, which you may do in terms of creating covers, if you're going to be an indie publisher, or editing, and other technical skills that you might need to acquire, but also looking at how to best use your mind, because after all, that is your most powerful tool. And let's see how you are not perhaps exploiting this or maximizing it to its full potential. And together with that, I would say that you also need to start practicing, I can't find another word for it, and I don't really like it, but it's self-love. So accepting yourself is a huge part. And sorry, as a quintessentially British personality, I find all these Americanisms quite hard to adopt, but they are very pertinent to what I'm trying to say and very true. So if, like me, you're a little bit reticent at actually doing your self-affirmations or practicing self-love, it's important at least to understand yourself and be forgiving of yourself. So this ties back to the perfectionism I was talking about at the beginning, where you are perhaps stopping because you're trying to be perfect or you're being too critical about yourself. So this is where this self-love comes in, and you must be forgiving, and you must understand that what you are creating even though you may not think it's the best or the bee's knees, other people might. And more often than not, they will get messages from what you create that you hadn't even intended for them to get. They might even get more out of it than you intended. Your work isn't limited to your mind. You don't know all the things that other people will gain from your work. So don't punish other people by not publishing your work. Let them enjoy it. Let them make their minds up. So I will list out all the main points. So I'll try to keep all these videos to 10 minutes. Of the other things we'll be covering, those are just a couple of the beginning. And I look forward to seeing you on the second video.